Hey everyone, I wanted to take just a quick minute to show you some basic tips and tricks for using Animaker to make some high quality yet really simple microlearning videos. I like to start with the YouTube video preset under Create Project. You're going to be greeted with a list of templates here that you can use. So we're going to start by creating a blank project. Once you click on the preset, it is going to come up with your dashboard that you can use to create anything you would like. Just to point out some of the features here, you're going to see all of the options for creating your text, your elements such as shapes and arrows, text if you want to add text, your background options, images, you can upload your own images or even generate some through the use of AI. You can upload your own videos, music, effects, and so on. Down below, you're going to see your timeline. Right now, if you look at it, it goes to 10 seconds. And if you see scene 1 up here, it says 10 seconds. This means that your total video is 10 seconds long, with this one specific scene being the full 10 seconds. There are two options here. You can click on overall timeline or scene timeline. When you want to start with a video, the first thing I like to do is create a background. I'm going to go up and type classroom. If you just type in the term you want to search for, it'll bring up some options. And in this case, I will do the blackboard. So all you do is click and drag it. Now you'll notice that under scene 1 here, it shows our image. If we want to create more than one scene, which we're going to for this, what you can do is come up here and just duplicate it. That will keep the same background that you use for it. And it will also duplicate any elements you've added. That's why I'm duplicating it before I add elements, so that it's not copying everything else. You'll notice that each scene, because it was duplicated from the original, is 10 seconds long. You can go in and change the specific length of each scene. You'll see here, as I hover over our overall timeline, that each section is broken down, or each scene is broken down here. So the first scene, the second scene, and the third scene. If you want to make one longer or shorter, you just click on the scene you want, and you can drag it and extend it. Now that we have our background and our scenes set the length we want them, the first thing I want to do is come up and drag my character. So you'll notice that you can use characters of any shape and size, and you can actually create your own. We want to take our element, just like the background, and click on it and drag it into place. You'll see that it then pops up into our scene, and you can drag it and place it anywhere you want. And you click on the edges of the box, you can resize it any shape and size you want. I'm going to leave them a little bit smaller so that we have room to work with. Now I'm going to go to my uploads. All you need to do to add your own is just click on the upload button, and it will allow you to browse through your PC to find any files you want. So the first thing I want to do is my title page. So I'm going to drag this just like the other elements and place it in the center of my screen. Now what we want to do is have our character come and teach us about what we need to do for APA style. I am going to animate the character and have him walking onto screen and then point to our APA paper to begin explaining it. You'll notice that I drag the character off screen. This is because I want him to walk in from off screen to begin pointing. If you want him to start on screen, you can just place him wherever you want, but you'll see why I want him to come off screen in just a moment. Now that we're ready to animate our character, what you want to do is make sure he's selected and click on the Action Plus button. This will allow you to create several different actions for the character, and it shows here the action that the character will be doing. Now, what I want to do is replace that, and I want to have him walking. So I'm going to type in walk, or walking, doesn't matter. Now that they loaded, I am going to select a walking animation. Once we have done that, we are going to drag the character over to the paper, and then we're going to click the check icon and apply it. Now what you're going to see, if we drag our timeline down, is that the character will move from off screen to the paper. I'm going to click play for the demo of that, and you'll see what happens. So you'll notice that the character came in from off screen, but he did so very, very quickly. So what we're going to do is on our scene timeline, you will see these two little icons that show the different actions of the character. I'm going to drag the first one over to the beginning, and the right one, which is the ending one, over to, I will say 3 seconds, and try that. So I'm going to drag my play card back to the beginning and click apply, and click play to see how that changes. Now you'll notice that he's walking at a much more reasonable pace. The next thing I want to do is make sure our character is pointing at the paper once he arrives at his destination. So from this, I'm going to replace the animation here with pointing. So I'm going to type in pointing. I'm going to click on that and click the check mark and click apply. So now what should happen if we start it over is he should walk and then transition to the pointing with a stick animation. So let's click play and see if that happens. Now we need to add some audio to this. You can record your own voice and add that to the animation. So the character will be speaking with your voice. So I am going to go up and click the lip sync, but I'm going to do text to speech. So you can record it live or you can upload your own audio and the character will then have their lip synced to whatever the text is. This is what I want our character to say. I'm going to click, once I'm done, add to timeline. Now it's going to sync the audio, and you'll see that it shows the audio icon here on our timeline. I don't want him to start talking until he gets closer to the whiteboard, so what I'm going to do is just drag this over more towards the end of the scene.
The first part of an APA paper is the title page. Make sure the title is centered.
Now what we want to do is highlight the areas that our character is talking about, and then I'm going to come up and click on property. Once you click on property, this is your basic shapes and elements. So I am going to type in arrow because I want an arrow to point to the elements. So let's start with this arrow right here. You'll notice it looks a little bit large, but as with any other element, you can resize it. So as with our character, what I'm going to do is drag it off screen because I don't want the arrow to emphasize the specific area until we begin talking about it. So my timestamp is over here at the beginning of the audio, and just like the character, I'm going to click on Smart Move. When you click on Smart Move, this orange dot represents where the image begins, and wherever you drag it is where it will end. And once we've clicked apply, we can try it. So that is our first scene. We have our example of an APA paper, we've animated our character, we've given them voice, and we even have arrows emphasizing what to do next. So now we're going to move on to our second scene. In this one, we want to emphasize the first page of the APA document. So in that case, I'm going to come down to my uploads, and I'm going to pick my first page, and we're going to come back and drag our character. We're going to place him about the same size as the last one, right here, and we're going to begin with him pointing, and then we can have him move if we would like over to the other side to emphasize something. So we're going to do Action Plus again, and we're going to start with pointing, but we don't want him to point the whole time. So what we're going to do next, click on the Action Plus again to add more frames to it. We're going to add our second frame, and I don't want that to start until 3 seconds in. What we're going to have him do there is walk. The end result of that should be a 14-second animation that leaves off with him pointing at the paper for the rest of the scene. One thing that you want to keep in mind when you're doing animations, if you go into the animations here, you want to make sure Apply Smooth Motion is on. If this is not on, what will happen is that your characters or elements will teleport from left to right, which can be handy, but if you want a natural looking walk, make sure Smooth Motion is on.
Remember that your title should appear in bold at the top of the first page.
So now we are going to click on our overall timeline again, and we're going to finish up with scene number 3. The first thing that I want to add is my example text, so I'm going to click on my uploads and go to the reference page. I'm going to click on my character again. I want him to be pointing for the duration of this, and once again I'm going to click on lip sync and include some audio. You can add your own text to this as well, so I'm going to go and add a subheading just for fun up here, and I'm going to say, "Thanks for watching." Now if you want to add just a touch more flair, you can add music to the entire thing. If you click on the music option, you're going to find free tracks up here. And I'm just going to randomly come down and click on something that's long enough. And you'll notice that down in our overall timeline, Sunny Day appears as our music. You'll notice that the audio is a little bit long, or a little bit loud rather. So what you can do is come down to the audio track and right click on it and then you can just adjust the volume slider. And that's all we need to do to add in our music. The next thing that I want to look at is adding transitions to your scenes. We're going to come up and click on this transition icon. I'm going to start with circles out. I'm going to click on that, and you'll see that's what the effect looks like because it gives you a demo. And I'm going to apply it to all scenes. Right now you'll notice that it shows this transition effect is only between scenes 1 and 2. When you click on apply to all, it will then appear between all of them. The final element that I want to show you how to use is the effect tab. This will allow you to have special effects within your scene. So these are not transitions, these are effects within the scene. So if you want to have something celebratory, for example, these balloons, you can drag it over and it will apply that screen effect. And just like all the other elements, you'll see down here that it has a slider so it'll last as long or as short as you want. Now we have our completed video. We're ready to save this and upload it so that we can use it in our classes. Come up and click on the publish icon up here. In this case, I just want the raw video file, so I'm just going to download the video. There's the name, and you will have download options, and you can choose the file type you want, MP4, .mov, and so on. I am going to keep it as an MP4 and click download. Once you click download, it's going to take you to the rendering queue. You will also get an email from them letting you know that your video is ready to download. Okay, we just got the notification that our video is done rendering and can be downloaded. If we click on the download button, it should start a download that will appear in wherever your download folder is. But that's really all there is to it, to create a video and then download it. Go ahead and get creative and explore some of the fun ways you can use it to enhance your microlearning videos and your classroom learning.